This is a Pilates Mini Flows class that has a lot of mobility work mixed into it. We're going to do a big focus on the hips, the glutes, the lower body today. No equipment is needed except for our final flow. First two flows are going to be down on the mat. Final one will kind of move from the mat to standing. And when we do, you're going to want a stool or a chair or a kitchen counter or a wall, something to put your hands on for balance, okay? So have that on hand, but you won't need it until the final flow. If you are new to Pilates Mini Flows classes, the best way to describe the structure is to picture a Pilates mat class that kind of flows from start to finish. In these classes, we essentially take a little snippet out of that flow that's a couple minutes long, and we repeat it like a circuit twice on either side. So you would go through the flow, rest, and then repeat. We have 3 flows total today, and in between each one, I will give you a preview of the upcoming one so you know what to expect. We'll start class with a quick guided warm-up, and we'll finish up class with a guided cool-down. Now, our warm-up will sort of take us right into our first flow, so I'm going to show you a preview of that now. First flow is heavily hip mobility focused. We're going to be in a 90-90 position. We're going to start with external rotation of the back leg, and then we move to internal rotation in that back hip joint. And then we remove our hands from the mat and we move between external and internal, adding in a lean forward when we go internal. We then hold that lean with that internal rotation. And then from there, we just flip 90-90, kind of windshield wipering the legs, trying to keep our feet fixated in space so you can lean back as much as needed to do that one. It is a 3-minute flow, and we'll do it twice on each side, alternating. Kind of store that in the back of your mind for later. We're going to get into our warm-up, and we're going to be in a tabletop position for our warm-up. We're going to start with a cat-cow, but I want us to make a circle with the spine as we do our cat-cow. So as you inhale, gaze shifts up, tailbone reaches up, we find spinal extension, and we kind of side bend over to one side. And then as we exhale, we start to round our spine up towards the ceiling, side bending over to the other side. Keep moving like that in sort of a circle. This should feel really good, even if it looks a little silly. Inhale, extension. Exhale to flex. And then I want you to just switch direction of those circles. One more. And then from here, I want you to come through center. I want you to elongate the spine to neutral. We're going to focus in on the hips. To start, I want you to take feet together, knees apart, and we're just going to rock back and forward. So we reach the tailbone back. Try not to tuck it under. And then as you come forward, bring the hips a little farther forward than the knees so you get a little extension through the front of the hips. Shifting it back and forward. So we're externally rotated within that hip joint and then just rocking forward and back. Let's do one more here. And now let's do internal rotation. So now I want you to bring the knees together, pull your feet apart so we're internally rotated within that hip joint, and then we start to rock back and forward. It's going to be a lot smaller. And bring it forward. Take your time in this one. Last time. From here, I want you to come shins parallel, knees hip distance apart, so back through center. And I want you to walk your hands about 6 inches farther forward than your shoulders. And so we just did internal, external rotation. Now we're going to do flexion and extension. Shift the hips back like you're coming into a child's pose. And then I want you to start to rock forward, and we're going to come into a spinal extension, lowering your hips, but squeezing through the glutes so we don't dump into the lower back, opening up through the chest, gaze shifts up. And then you just shift it back. So we're flexed through the hip joint, and then we want to come into that extended position, again, active through the glutes, so that all the pressure doesn't go into the lower back. Twice more. One more time. And then let's come back through tabletop. Walk your hands back and under shoulders. I want you to tuck your toes under. From here, we're going to lift the hips up to a down dog, heels press down, and then just bring your knees back to a hover in a bear plank position. Do this a couple times. To finish up our warm-up, we'll hold in the down dog, and we'll roll open through the hips, going side to side. Next time those hips lift up into your down dog, I want you to pause. Now you're going to take one leg, you're going to lift it to the ceiling, you're going to peel that hip open, bending the knee, heel in towards bum. Straighten the legs, square the hips, return the foot, take it over to the other side. Leg lifts, pelvis rolls open, heel to bum. Reverse it. and just keep alternating like that. So throughout class today, I apologize if I sound a little winded. I'm just getting over being sick. So this might be a struggle today. We will see. I'm feeling a lot better, but I get winded very easily. Let's do one more each leg. Or actually, this is the last side, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, last time. Replace the foot. Lower your knees down, and now we're going to come into that 90-90 hip work. So we're going to start with our right leg forward and our left back today. So the left hip will be the focus to start. I don't always like to start on the right side. I think it's important to switch it up here and there. So you're going to find opposing 90-degree angles with the legs. Again, right is forward, left is back. It's important that you're open through the front of this back left hip. Now, you have options if this is too much. The first modification I want you to take is I want you to sit your front right hip on a pillow to elevate it, and that will help a lot. If that doesn't help enough, then you can pull the heels in towards you so your legs are more at opposing triangles instead of 90-degree angles, okay? Now we're going to walk our hands forward, and they can be over to the right a little bit. I want you to find the position that works for your body. You might have to walk them very far forward, or you might be able to stay a little more upright. And we're going to start by finding external rotation within this back hip joint, which means the heel is going to stay down, the knee is going to lift up. So we're engaged through the core, long through the spine, open through the front of this back hip. Let's go. We lift that knee up, it's probably tiny, and lower. Exhale, getting those deep external rotators within the hip joint. These movements do not have to be big to be effective, okay? Up next, we're just going to switch the movement, so it's going to be internal, which means the knee will stay down, the foot will lift up. Think of squeezing into those external rotators as you lift the knee. All right, now let's switch. Knee stays down, the heel lifts up, woo, and lowers. Now, when you do this, again, it's so tiny, you probably can barely even see it. When you do this, you're not dumping your torso forward. Really isolate the movement, the thigh within that hip joint. So now coming up next, we're going to take the hands away. We're going to go internal to external. When we do internal, we're going to add in the lean forward with the torso. If taking the hands away isn't an option, keep the fingertips tented. All right, let's go. So take the hands away if possible. So first we do external. You lift that back knee and then plant it down. Now, as we do internal, you lean forward over that front right thigh. Oh my gosh, that's tough. Come back up. External, lift the knee, and then lift the heel as your torso hinges forward. Oh, so tough. So I'm filming this in the morning, so I'm definitely on the stiff side. So my range of motion is feeling especially small. But we're going to do this twice on either side, so hopefully by the second time, you feel a little more mobile, even if it's incrementally. Keep going. You're on this combo for a full minute. Up next, we're going to hold the internal rotation with that lean. These movements do not have to be big to be effective. Remember, don't force it. Isolate the movement within the hip joint. All right, hold. So we're leaning forward. That heel is lifted. We're internally rotated within the back hip joint, leaning over this front hip. We're going to windshield wiper up next. Fingertips can tent behind you. We're going to keep our feet planted where they are when we windshield wiper. All right, so let's go. So now you're going to lift the knees. Try to keep the feet planted where they are. Swish them over to the other side. 90-90 facing the other direction. And just keep going back and forth. Now, the more mobile you are through the hips, you may be able to keep your hands off the ground and you may not have to lean back very far. That is not the case for me, especially not first round through. We'll see. We'll see by round 4. Just 15 more seconds, then we'll take a 15-second breather before repeating it, just facing the other direction. Okay, 15 seconds to reset. We're facing the other direction now. So now your left leg is in front, right is behind. You're open through the back hip. You're leaning forward, but you're bracing through the core. Hands can be tented, and you can walk them over to the left a little bit. Let's start with external rotation. So you're lifting the knee up and lowering. Let's go. Back leg is the focus. Opposing 90-degree angles, but remember those modifications. You can sit your front left hip on a pillow or a block, and that can help. Or you can pull the heels in towards you a little bit. Up next, we'll just take it to internal. So the knee will stay down, the heel will lift up. Let's go internal rotation. So the knee stays down, the heel lifts up without pulling the hip bone forward. So the hip stays still. It's your leg rotating within the hip joint. Oh, this side is definitely a little more mobile for me today, but ooh, it's still tight. So coming up next, we're going to try to take the hands away if possible. You don't have to. And we'll do external to internal. When we do internal, we add in that lean over our front left leg. Okay, let's go. Take the hands away if possible. External, lift the knee. Internal, lift the heel as you lean forward. Oh man, that's tough. Try to keep your chest pointed over the front shin. So it might mean you need to keep fingertips lightly on the floor. On this side, I think I do need to do that. Don't be afraid to assist yourself or take a modified version ever, okay? It's not about cramming your body into the move. It's about making the move work for your body. So coming up next, we're going to hold the internal lean. I'm going to try to do it with hands off. All right, let's go. You lean forward, internally rotated, so the foot is lifted off. The knee is down. Woo. Can you go a little deeper? We'll windshield wiper, feet will be planted. Let's go. Take it to that windshield wiper. You can lean back. Hands can be used for support. Try to keep your feet planted in the same position, or the heels down, I should say. The feet are pivoting. But I don't want you to change position of the feet. That way you're in a true 90-90 when you go side to side. I'm going to give you a longer rest time after this. Well, 30 seconds, not that much longer, but better than 15. The more upright you stay through the chest, the harder this will be. The more you lean back, the more accommodating and easier for your hips, okay? Do what works for you. And rest. Take 30 seconds. So in 30 seconds, we'll start back with back left leg as the focus, right in front, so facing the starting direction. So as we go through this for a third and a fourth time, I want you to notice, are you feeling even just a smidge more mobile? Is the movement coming easier? Do you feel like you have more control? Are you better able to fire into the muscles? So again, we're going to walk our hands forward. Feel free to walk them over at an angle if that's more comfortable for your body. You don't have to be directly over the shin if that is too much for you. Make sure you're open through this back left hip. We're going to start with external rotation. So the heel is going to stay down and the knee is going to lift up. Oof. As small as it is, this is actually bigger than the first time through. I already noticed a difference. You know, in Pilates Mini Flows classes, there is a bit of repetition, and that is purposeful. I know these no repeat classes, or even my Pilates mat classes that flow one thing to the next, they're fun and they make the time go by faster, for sure. There's value in them, but sometimes there's value in repetition and staying on things. Switch to internal, knee stays down, ooh, heel lifts up. Sometimes it helps to, for me anyway, to put a hand on my stomach just so that I'm not arching into my back and I'm able to really isolate that movement within the hip joint, as small as it is. You should feel the muscles contract. It's a little squeeze. So we're going to take the hands away up next. We'll add in that lean, external to internal. Okay, we take the hands away. So first external, we lift the knee up. Lower the knee down. Now as the foot lifts up and we do internal, we lean forward here for a full 60. Oh, go slow. It can help to keep your right hand on the ground for support as you do this. Coming up next, we hold that lean with the internal rotation, going as deep into it as we can. Make sure you're still open through this back hip flexor. All right, hold the lean, 15 seconds. It's quick, but it's a tough hold. Can you get a little deeper into it? We'll windshield wiper, heels stay planted, hands can come behind you. You're welcome to lean back up next. Let's windshield wiper. Knees move up. So I want you to challenge yourself on this. It's a bigger movement. It might feel a lot better than the work we were just doing, but challenge yourself to stay as upright as possible. Again, the more upright you are, the more challenging the movement is within the hip joint. The more you lean back, the easier. Maybe you even play around with having only one hand on the floor for support. Maybe you try no hands on the floor. Almost got it. That was tough. Maybe around 4 I'll get there. So we got one more time, one more set through. I'll give you 15 seconds to recover, and then we're going to do it. Okay, 15 seconds. So we set up 90-90. Now our right leg is back, left leg is forward, posing 90-degree angles. Open through the back hip flexor. Option to sit your front left hip on a pillow if that helps. Let's start with external. Heel stays down, knee lifts up and lowers. So final few minutes in this flow, I'll give you a new sequence up next. Switch to internal, knee stays down, heel lifts up. Ooh, that's tough. Heel lifts up without dumping the hip bone forward. So it's just that thigh rotating within the hip joint. Avoid the temptation to make the movement bigger than it needs to be, okay? If it's too big, you're probably compensating. The movement probably isn't coming from the hip joint, it's coming elsewhere. Get ready to take your hands away. All right, let's go. Hands come away. If possible, we're going to do external to internal. When you do internal, add in that lean. Ooh, this side is really tough for me, so I'm going to keep my left fingertips tented. Very normal to notice differences between sides, differences day to day. Every once in a while, I'm going to try to do a rep without them, just to continue to build on this. Up next, we will hold that lean with the internal rotation. All right, let's hold that lean. I'm going to try to take my hands away. There we go. Can you lean forward a little more? We windshield wiper to finish. Let's go. Final 45 seconds. We windshield wiper. Again, I want you to keep the heels down in that same position so that we're not changing the angle of the legs. I'm going to try to do this. Oh, can't do it without moving the heels. I'll do one hand at a time. No, I won't. Struggling today. Final 15 seconds here. And done. All right, you have a minute. I'm going to show you flow number 2. We're going to be in a forearm tabletop position for this one, and both sides will be working. They'll just have different roles. First up, it is a hydrant, lifting, lowering that knee out to the side. Then holding the hydrant lifted, you're just going to kick the leg straight to the side and then bend the knee. We then hold the leg straight and you lift and lower. From there, we're going to come to tented fingertips. We're going to sweep the leg back and we're going to roll the pelvis open and then we're going to roll it closed. So we're going to get internal and external rotation. option to take the hand away for balance and reach it up to the ceiling. You don't have to, though. You can keep it tented the whole time. From there, holding the pelvis open, we're going to sweep the leg forward again. We're going to do a second round of the lifting and lowering, but with our pelvis in that open position. And then we finish with just a hold of that leg at a hover. Again, 4 times through. This is another 3-minute one, I believe. Let's go. So we're going to start with our left leg as the mover and our right side as the stabilizer. You'll feel both work, just in different ways. So we're going to come to a forearm tabletop. At any point, if forearm tabletop isn't working for you, though, feel free to come up to straight arms, okay? So elbows under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to start with that hydrant. Again, right knee stays down. We're going to hydrant the left knee up and out to the left. Stable through the shoulders, so really push that mat away, length through the back of the neck, engage through your core. Let's go. We hydrant. That left knee lifts up and out to the left, pause at the top, and then lower it back down. We're not rolling open through the pelvis just yet, so both hip bones stay pointing down towards the floor. And we're just getting in that abduction. Now up next, we're going to hold the knee lifted up and out to the left, and we're just going to kick the leg straight and then bend the knee. It's going to be quick, just 15 seconds. I know the hold is hard. All right, hold it up. Now we're going to kick that leg straight, bend the heel back into the knee. Now as we go through this, if you need to modify, try walking your forearms over to the right a little bit. That might help. Hold the leg straight now, and I want you to lower and lift. Tap the floor and lift. It's another quick one, just 15 seconds. Get ready to tense your left fingertips up next and sweep the leg back. All right, we're going to tent the left fingertips. You're going to sweep that leg back. The hip rolls open, and then the hip is going to come through center, and you're going to close it. So you're going to drop that left hip down a little bit. Peel the left hip on top of the right, and then pull it down. So we're internally rotating around that stationary right hip, and then we're peeling it back open. Reach long through that leg. Now you can stay just like this with your fingertips tented for support. If you want to challenge, though, when you come into that open position, you remove the hands from the floor, and you reach them up, and then you bring them back down as you roll. Up to you, okay? So coming up next, we're going to hold that pelvis open, left stacked on top of right. We're going to sweep the leg forward, kind of bringing our body into an L shape, and we'll lift and lower. All right, let's go. Hold it open, have the fingertips tented. Sweep that leg forward, and now you lower and lift. Lower and lift. I don't want you to tuck under through the tailbone, so you don't have to sweep the leg too far forward. Give me back at an angle. We have one final change to get through in this flow. You just hold the leg at a hover, okay? Hold it at a hover. It's just 15 seconds, and then lean into it to the left just a little bit. You got it. Reach long through that heel. Oh, and rest. Take 30 seconds. All right, so we're going to repeat that on the other side. When we get to the halfway point of this one, I'll give you a full minute to recover because it's tough. Both sides are working. So we're going to do that same thing, but now your left side is going to be the stabilizer, right will be the mover. Let's find that forearm tabletop position. Stable through the shoulders, so don't sink down towards the mat, push them away. Right knee is going to hydrant open to start. Let's go. Now as you hydrant open, try not to lean over into that supporting left side. So as best you can, you're keeping the left hip stacked directly on the right. Give me that little pause at the top, really squeezing into those outer hip muscles. We'll hold the leg at a hover up next, and you'll just kick it straight. The next 2 variations are quick, just 15 seconds each. Let's go. Hydrant open, and then you kick the leg straight, and you bend it back in. Try not to lean too far over to the left. Easier said than done. We'll hold the leg straight. We'll lift and lower up next. Again, just 15. All right, hold it straight, lower, and lift. It doesn't have to be straight out to the side. It might be back at an angle, which mine is. We're going to tent the right fingertips up next. We'll come into those pelvis rolls. All right, tent the fingertips, sweep the leg back. So we peel the right hip on top of the left, and then you lower it down and you kind of drop it in towards that left thigh. So internal rotation, external rotation. And you can stay with these right fingertips on the floor for support the entire time if you'd like. If you want that balance and stability challenge, when you roll the hips open, you reach the arm up towards the ceiling. Woo, it's tough. Slow it down. Here for a full 60. So coming up next, we will hold the pelvis open and we'll sweep that right leg forward, kind of bringing our leg and body into an L shape. We'll lift and lower. You definitely want fingertips down for support for this one. All right, fingertips down, but keep the pelvis stacked open. Sweep the leg forward only as far as you can without tucking the tailbone, and we lift and lower that leg. You're going to feel supporting side working a lot here as well. The final change is a hold. Hold, final 15. Lean into the right a little bit. Reach long through that right heel. Don't tuck under through the tailbone. Really think of opening up through the hips. So keep that right hip stacked on top of left. Squeeze into your supporting left butt cheek. Oh, and rest. Find a wide child's pose, so knees wide, bum back to your heels. I'm giving you a full minute here. And again, I know 4 sets can feel a little repetitive. It's on purpose though, okay? Pilates Mini Flows classes are kind of the classes where I get the opportunity to do what is best for your body and give your body what it needs without necessarily considering how fun or quick things feel. So one more time each side. We'll start back with the right leg as the stabilizer, left as the mover. All right, you know where we're going with this. Let's get into position. Forearms down, parallel, elbows under shoulders, press that mat away. So we're going to hydrant on that left side. Right side is our stationary side. Let's go. Exhale. Think of reaching that knee, not just up, but away. So reach it to the left and up. Really fire into the musculature, okay? So we're not just swinging. You're lifting, squeeze, 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 little pause, lower with control. We'll hold at the top up next. We'll kick the leg straight and bend the knee back in. Next 2 changes are challenging, but quick. Hold. We kick the leg straight. You bend at the knee, pull the heel in. Hold the leg straight, tap it to the floor, and lift. Try not to shift weight into the floor. It's just a little tap. Reach long and lift. Get ready to tent the left fingertips and roll the hips open, swinging the leg back. Hip rolls up next. All right, let's go. Tent the fingertips, sweep the leg back. So we're stacked, and then we lower. Whoop. Little dog toy fuzz or stuffing. It's everywhere. So we're going external, peel the left on top of the right, and then internal, drop that left hip lower than the right hip. Option to add in that stability work. When the hips are open, the arm reaches up to the ceiling. Tent the fingertips as you drop. Here for a full minute, so go slow and controlled. So this is the pelvis rotating around the right thigh. We'll hold the pelvis open up next. Fingertips will tent. We'll sweep that leg forward. Let's go. Keep the pelvis stacked. Swing that left leg forward, and then we lower and lift. Try not to tuck the tailbone under. Reach long through that leg. You got it. All we have to get through is that hold coming up, and then we're done on this side. Hold. Reach it long. Really peel the hips open. So you're firing in through the glutes. Oh, 30 seconds to rest. Oh, if you need longer though, pause the video here. So we just got to go through that one more time. One more time. So we have 3 minutes of work here, and then we come to our final flow. Final flow will be more standing work. We'll grab the stool. All right, we got this. Forearms down, tabletop position. Right side will hydrant. Right knee lifts up and out. We'll hold and kick up next. Hold it, kick it straight, and bend it. Now when you kick it straight, hopefully it's still a little bit of a hover, but maybe it taps the floor. That is fine too. Everyone's height is going to be a little different. Hold it straight, lower, and lift. Now try not to do what I just did. I just rested on the floor. I just want a little tap to the floor and lift. Right fingertips will tent up next. Pelvis rolls coming up. Let's go. Tent the fingertips, sweep the leg back. And then we lower. Internal, external. So we can do hip rotation 2 different ways. We can rotate the leg within the hip joint, which is what we often do. Or we can rotate the pelvis around the leg, which is what we're doing now. Option to add in that stability challenge. Our hips are going to feel so good after this class. They'll be talking to us in a good way, I hope. So coming up next, we hold the hips in that open position, right stacked on top of left. Right fingertips will be tented, and we'll swing the leg forward into that L. All right, let's do it. So peel the hips open, swing that leg forward, we lower and lift. You have 30 seconds in flow number 2. You can do it. We have that hold to get through. Keep the hips open. All right, hold. Squeeze into the glutes. Reach long through that right leg. You're making a fist with your left butt cheek, okay? That supporting side. You got it. Breathe. And done. Woo. All right, take a full minute. Find your stool, your kitchen counter, or your chair, whatever you're going to use, and I will show you our final flow. So this is a slightly shorter flow to finish. We're going to start in a lizard lunge position with our fingertips tented, and then we're going to lift the hands away as we pivot the back leg, peeling the hip open, coming into like a low warrior lunge, and then we just pivot and return. From this low warrior lunge position, you're going to lift your back heel so that you can bend into the knee, and we slide back, and then we come forward, bringing a hand or both hands to the stool, coming into a half moon position, keeping the pelvis in that open position. We then hold in that open position. We're going to bring hand to knee, and then you square the hips, reaching the arm and leg forward, coming into a single leg deadlift position, opening back up hand to knee. And then we finish with just a quick hold in that single leg deadlift position, maybe both arms reach overhead. So in this one, the stabilizing side is going to be doing the majority of the work. So we will start with our left leg forward for this one. All right, you know the deal. 4 times through. Let's do it. So stool won't be used in the first one, but it's just there in front of us for the second movement. Left foot is forward, right back. Hands are on the inside of that front foot, fingertips tented, open through the chest. So we'll drop this back right heel, pivoting open as we remove the hands, staying low on this front left side. Let's go. So low warrior, open through the pelvis, square it off, fingertips to the mat. So coming up next, we'll be in that low warrior position, and we're going to lift this back right heel up so that we can bend into that back right knee, kind of sliding back into a crouching position, and then forward into that balanced position with the pelvis open. All right, so from this position, lift your back right heel. Slide it back, staying low. And then as you come forward, hands to the stool, don't lock out through this left leg. And then you land and slide it back. And we come forward. Maybe you just bring one hand to the stool. Ooh, a little harder to balance. Hips are open. Land with control, just the ball of the foot. Keep the heel lifted. That makes the impact feel a lot better on the knee if we keep that heel lifted in this particular position, since we're open like this. So coming up, we're going to hold in this standing position. We'll do hand to knee. All right, balance. So in this open hip position, right hand to right knee. Now you're going to reach them forward as you square the hips, coming into the single leg deadlift position. Now that stabilizing left knee is not locked out. Slide your hips back for me. We have our left hand for support on the stool. Opening through the hips, squaring them off. Now we will finish with a balance in the square position, the deadlift position. Maybe you keep your left hand on the stool. Maybe you reach it forward along with the right. All right, we hold. If you're up for the balance challenge, both arms are reaching forward. You're active through the core. Hips are square to the ground. And rest. Woo, take 30 seconds. All right, so we're going to switch sides. I'm just going to move my stool so that I'm facing you, but you don't have to change the position. You just got to change legs. All right, sorry squeaks. Interrupting his nap, so rude of me. Okay, so now right foot will be forward, left will be back. We'll start down in that lizard lunge position. So we'll drop the back left heel, pivoting open. As we do, hands come off the mat. Let's go. Low warrior, lizard. So up next, we'll lift this back heel. We'll do that kind of sliding, crouching position. Coming forward into that balanced position, keeping the hips open. All right, let's go. So lift this back heel, bend into the knee as you slide back. We're staying low. Coming forward into this open position. Don't lock out through this right knee. Slowly land back down, slide it back. My stool's not in the right position because Squeaky's in the way, so I got to use my couch. So coming up, we'll stay in that balanced position. It'll be hand to knee, and then we'll square the hips to the floor, single leg deadlift. All right, let's go. So from here, left hand to left knee, and then pull that left hip down, squaring it with the right as the arm and leg reach long. And then peel the hip open. Pull your hips back, stay unlocked through this right knee. So we'll finish with that balance. You can absolutely keep your right hand down though for support. It'll be in the square hip position. Let's go. Square it off. One arm reaches forward. Maybe both arms reach forward. Maybe you keep your hands on that stool for support. Make sure you're unlocked through your right knee. And rest. Whew. All right, take 45 seconds, just a little longer. We're at the halfway point. So we're just going to do that one more time each side, and then you are done with class. So it'll be left foot forward, right leg long, that lizard lunge to low warrior, removing our hands. You want to stay low on the left leg as we do this. Hips are square to start. Open through the chest, light through the fingertips. I really want this left leg supporting the majority of your body weight. And let's go. Pull the hands away as you pivot open, peeling this right hip open and then squaring it off. So hips and glutes get a lot of love throughout this class. Now we're really firing up the rest of our legs, making them work. Come to the party as well. We'll be in that warrior position up next with the heel lifted though. And we'll do that kind of crouch to that balance position. All right, lift the back heel. So we slide it back, staying low. And then we come forward. Woo! Open through the hips. With control, land and slide it back. 45 seconds here. So it's more of a dynamic movement, but it's controlled. So don't just fling yourself forward and back. We're stabilizing, we're landing softly. We'll be in this standing position up next. Hand to knee, and then single leg deadlift. All right, hold it here. So hand to knee, and then you reach it forward as you square off through the hips. Slide the hips back. You're unlocked through your left knee as you do this. Peel the hips open. So again, it's that idea of the pelvis rotating around this left hip bone, or this left thigh. We'll finish with that balance coming up next. Maybe both arms reach overhead for it. Let's go. So square off. Brace through the core, stay open through the chest. Both hip bones pointing down to the ground, unlocked through our stationary left leg. Last few seconds on the side. And rest, 30 seconds, shake it out. All right, final couple minutes of this class. Sorry, squeaky. Final time through, right leg will be our focus. You know the drill, you know what to expect. We cool down on the other side of this. So right foot is forward, left back. We're in that lizard lunge position. Open through the chest. You don't need your stool to start, but just have it in front of you. All right, drop that back heel as the hands come off. Replace the fingertips as the hips square and the heel lifts. Holding your warrior, lift the back heel so you can slide it back. And then spring it forward with control. So if you do yoga, think half moon. Or just a single leg deadlift with an open pelvis. Soft landing, heel stays lifted. We'll be in the balance position up next for those pelvis rotations, square to open. All right, hold. So it's hand to knee when the hips are open, and then everything reaches long as you square the hips to the floor. Slide the hips back. Stay unlocked through that stationary right knee. We are 30 seconds away from our cool down. You have one hold to get through coming up. Maybe both arms reach forward for it. Let's do it. Square those hips, unlock through your right knee. Maybe both arms reach forward. Don't sink into your lower back. Reach long through that hovering left heel. Ooh, I'm a little shaky. Almost there. And done. Oh, shake it out. Awesome work. I'll bring you through. Just a quick cool down. To start, we can face our stool. Just bring your hands to it. Step back. Bit generous bend to the knees and just press your armpits towards the floor. And then straighten the legs, coming into a more forward fold position with a rounded back. So think chest open, maybe a little spinal extension. Little spinal flexion as you straighten the legs. From here, vertebrae by vertebrae, let's roll it up. Let's take a figure 4 using the stool for support. So I'm going to cross the right over the left, and I'm going to slide my hips back, hands on the stool. Coming up, let's switch sides. Slide those hips back. And we can finish with one breath together. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, release. And that is your class. Awesome work today. Hope you're feeling good after that. And I'll see you next time.